Hey, hey, how are we doing today? Today I thought I would read a crime fiction novel to help you sleep. So let's get started, shall we? First, I want you to relax. Close your eyes. Relax your body and take a deep breath in and then out. Good. Now let's start reading. This is The Silent Patient by Alex Michaelides. This book is highly praised in the crime fiction sphere/community. It was described by many critics as brilliant, terrific, compelling, genius, etc. And I have to confess, it was a mind-blowing read. I did not see the plot twist coming. If you know, you know. The blurb of the book reads as follows. Alicia Berenson lived a seemingly perfect life until one day, 6 years ago, when she shot her husband in the head 5 times. Since then, she hasn't spoken a single word. It's time to find out why. Only she knows what happened. Only I can make her speak. Chapter 33. The meeting took place in Diomedes' office, but Stephanie Clark assumed control from the start. Now we had left the abstract world of psychology and entered the concrete realm of health and safety. We were under her jurisdiction, and she knew it. Judging by Diomedes' sullen silence, it was obvious, so did he. Stephanie was standing with her arms crossed. Her excitement was palpable. Just getting off on this, I thought. Being in charge and having the last word. How she must have resented us all. Overruling her, teaming up against her. Now she was relishing her revenge. The incident yesterday morning was totally unacceptable, she said. I warned against Alicia being allowed to paint, but I was overruled. Individual privileges always stir up jealousies and resentments. I knew something like this would happen. From now on, safety must come first. Is that why Alicia has been put in seclusion? I said. In the interest of safety. She is a threat to herself and others. She attacked Elif. She could have killed her. She was provoked. Diomedes shook his head and joined the conversation. He spoke wearily. I don't think any level of provocation justifies that kind of attack. Stephanie nodded. Precisely, she said. It was an isolated incident, I said. Putting Alicia in seclusion isn't just cruel, it's barbaric. I had seen patients subjected to seclusion in Broadmoor, locked in a tiny windowless room, barely enough space for a bed, let alone other furniture. Hours or days in seclusion was enough to drive anyone mad, let alone someone who was already unstable. Stephanie shrugged. As manager of the clinic, I have the authority to take any action I deem necessary. I asked Christian for his guidance, and he agreed with me. I bet he did. Across the room, Christian smiled smugly at me. I could also feel Diomedes watching me. I knew what they were thinking. I was letting it get personal and letting my feelings show, but I didn't care. Locking her up is not the answer. We need to keep talking to her. We need to understand her. I understand perfectly, Christian said with a heavy, patronizing tone, as if we were talking to a backward child. It's you, Theo, me. Who else? You're the one who's been stirring things up. In what sense, stirring? It's true, isn't it? You're the one who campaigned to lower her medication. I laughed. It was hardly a campaign. It was an intervention. She was drugged up to the eyeballs. A zombie. Bullshit. I turned to Diomedes. You're not seriously trying to pin this on me. Is that what's happening here? Diomedes shook his head, but evaded my eye. Of course not. Nonetheless, it's obvious that her therapy has destabilized her. It's challenged her too much, too soon. I suspect that's why this unfortunate event took place. I don't accept that. You're possibly too close to see it clearly. He threw up his hands and sighed. A man defeated. We can't afford any more mistakes. Not at such a critical juncture. As you know, the future of the unit is at stake. Every mistake we make gives the trust another excuse to close us down. I felt intensely irritated at his defeatism, his weary acceptance. The answer is not to drug her up and throw away the key, I said. We're not jailers. I agree, said Indira. She gave me a supportive smile and went on. The problem is we've become so risk-averse, we'd rather over-medicate than take any chances. We need to be brave enough to sit with the madness, to hold it, instead of trying to lock it up. Christian rolled his eyes and was about to object, but Diomedes spoke first, shaking his head. It's too late for that. This is my fault. Alicia isn't a suitable candidate for the psychotherapy. I should never have allowed it. Diomedes said he blamed himself, but I knew he was really blaming me. All eyes were on me. Diomedes' disappointed frown, Christian's gaze, mocking, triumphant, Stephanie's hostile stare, and Dara's look of concern. I tried not to sound like I was pleading. Stop Alicia painting if you must, I said, but don't stop her therapy. It's the only way to reach her. Diomedes shook his head. I'm beginning to suspect she's unreachable. Just give me some time. was a note of finality in his voice that told me there was no point in arguing further. "No," Diomedes said. "It's over." Chapter 34. Diomedes was wrong about the snow clouds. It didn't snow. Instead, it started raining heavily that afternoon. A storm with angry drum beats of thunder and lightning flashes. I waited for Alicia in the therapy room, watching the rain batter the window. I felt weary and depressed. The whole thing has been a waste of time. I had lost Alicia before I could help her. Now I never would. A knock at the door. Yuri escorted Alicia into the therapy room. She looked worse than I expected. She was pale, ashen, ghost-like. The way she moved was clumsy, and her right leg trembled non-stop. Fucking Christian, I thought. She was drugged out of her mind. There was a long pause after Yuri left. Alicia didn't look at me. Eventually, I spoke, loudly and clearly, to make sure she understood. "Alicia, I'm sorry you were put in seclusion. I'm sorry you had to go through that." No reaction. I hesitated. "I'm afraid that because of what you did to Alif, our therapy has been terminated. This wasn't my decision. Far from it. There is nothing I can do about it. I'd like to offer you this opportunity to talk about what happened, to explain your attack on Elif, and express the remorse I'm sure you're feeling." Alicia said nothing. I wasn't sure my words were penetrating her medicated haze. "I'll tell you how I feel," I went on. "I feel angry, to be honest. I feel angry that our work is ending before we've even properly begun. And I feel angry that you didn't try harder." Alicia's head moved. Her eyes stared into mine. "You're afraid. I know that," I said. "I've been trying to help you, but you won't let me. And now I don't know what to do." I fell silent, defeated. And then Alicia did something I will never forget. She held out her trembling hand towards me. She was clutching something. A small leather-bound notebook. "What's that?" No reply. She kept holding it out. I peered at it, curious. "Do you want me to take it?" No response. I hesitated and gently took the notebook from her fluttering fingers. I opened it and thumbed through the pages. It was a handwritten diary, a journal, Alicia's journal. Judging by the handwriting, it was written in a chaotic state of mind, particularly the last pages, where the writing was barely legible. Arrows connecting different paragraphs written at different angles across the page. Doodles and drawings taken over some pages. Flowers growing into vines, covering what had been written and making it almost indecipherable. I looked at Alicia, burning with curiosity. What do you want me to do with this? The question was quite unnecessary. It was obvious what she wanted. She wanted me to read it. Part 3. Alicia Berenson's Diary. 8th of August. Something odd happened today. I was in the kitchen making coffee, looking out of the window, looking without seeing, daydreaming, and then I noticed something, or rather someone, outside. A man. I noticed him because he was standing so still, like a statue, and facing the house. He was on the other side of the road, by the entrance to the heath. He was standing in the shadow of a tree. He was tall, well-built. I couldn't make out his features as he was wearing sunglasses and a cap. I couldn't tell if he could see me or not through the window, but it felt like he was staring right at me. I thought it was weird. I'm used to people waiting across the street at the bus stop, but he wasn't waiting for a bus. He was staring at the house. I realized that I had been standing there for several minutes, so I made myself leave the window. I went to the studio. I tried to paint but couldn't concentrate. My mind kept going back to the man. I decided to give myself another 20 minutes, and then I'd go back to the kitchen and look. And if he was still there, then what? He wasn't doing anything wrong. He might be a burglar studying the house. I suppose that was my first thought. But why just stand there like that, so conspicuously? Maybe he was thinking of moving here. Maybe he's buying the house for sale at the end of the street. That could explain it. But when I went back to the kitchen and peered out of the window, he had gone. The street was empty. I guess I'll never know what he was doing. How strange. 11th of August. I saw that man again. He was a bit further away this time. He was sitting on a bench further into the heath. But it was him. I could tell. Most people are wearing shorts and t-shirts and light colors in this weather. And he was wearing a dark shirt and trousers, black sunglasses and a cap. And his head was angled towards the house, looking at it. I had a funny thought. Maybe he's not a burglar. Perhaps he's a painter. Perhaps he's a painter like me, and he's thinking about painting the street or the house. But as soon as I thought this, I knew it wasn't true. If he really were going to paint the house, he wouldn't just be sitting there. He'd be making sketches. I got myself into a state about it, and I found Gabriel. That was a mistake. I could tell he was busy. The last thing he needed was me calling, freaking out because I think someone is watching the house. Of course, I am only assuming the man is watching the house. He could be watching me. 13th of August. He was there again. It was as soon as Gabriel left this morning. I had a shower and saw him out of the bathroom window. He was closer this time. He was standing by the bus stop like he was casually waiting for the bus. I don't know who he thinks he's fooling. I got dressed quickly and went into the kitchen to have a better look, but he was gone. I decided to tell Gabriel about it when he got home. I thought he'd brush it off, but he took it seriously. He seemed quite worried. "Is it Jean Felix?" he said straight away. "No, of course not. How can you even think that?" I tried to sound surprised, but in truth I had wondered that too. The man and Jean Felix are the same build. It could be Jean Felix, but even so, I just don't want to believe it. He wouldn't try and frighten me like that, would he? "What's Jean Felix's number?" Gabriel said. "I'm calling him right now." "Oh, darling, please don't." "I'm sure it's not him." "Positive?" "Absolutely. Nothing happened. I don't know why I'm making such a big deal out of it. It's nothing." "How long was he there for?" "Not long. An hour or so. And then he vanished." "What do you mean, vanished?" "He just disappeared." Mm-hmm. Is there any chance you could be imagining this?" Something about the way he said that annoyed me. "I'm not imagining it. I need you to believe me. I do believe you." I could tell he didn't totally believe me. He only partly believes me. Part of him was just humoring me, which makes me angry, if I'm honest. So angry I have to stop here, or I might write something I'll regret. 14th of August. I jumped out of bed as soon as I woke up. I checked the window, hoping the man would be there again, so Gabriel would see him too, but there was no sign of him. I felt even more stupid. This afternoon, I decided to go for a walk, despite the heat. I wanted to be on the heath, away from the buildings and roads and other people, and be alone with my thoughts. I walked up to Parliament Hill, passing the bodies of sunbathers strewn around on either side of the path. I found a bench that was unoccupied, and I sat down. I stared out at London glinting in the distance. While I was there, I was conscious the whole time of something. I kept looking over my shoulder, but couldn't see anyone. But someone was there the whole time. I could feel it. I was being watched. On my way back, I walked past the pond. I happened to look up, and there he was, the man. He was standing across the water on the other side, too far to see clearly. But it was him. I knew it was him. He was standing perfectly still, motionless, staring right at me. And I felt an icy shiver of fear, and I acted out of instinct. "Jean Felix?" I shouted. "Is that you? Stop it. Stop following me." He didn't move. I acted as fast as I could. I reached into my pocket, pulled out my phone, and took a photo of him. What good it will do, I have no idea. Then I turned and started walking quickly to the end of the pond, not letting myself look back until I reached the main path. I was scared he was going to be right behind me. I turned around, and he was gone. I hope it's not Jean Felix. I really do. When I got home, I was feeling on edge. I drew the blinds and turned off the lights. I peered out of the window, and there he was. The man was standing on the street, staring up at me. I froze. I didn't know what to do. 21st of August. I've not been outside for 3 days. I have been pretending to Gabriel that I'm going for walks in the afternoons when he's out, but it's not true. It makes me fearful, the thought of going outside. I'll be too exposed. At least here in the house, I know I'm safe. I can sit by the window and monitor the passers-by. I am scanning each face that passes for that man's face. But I don't know what he looks like. That's the problem. He could have removed his disguise and be moving about in front of me, completely unnoticed. That's an alarming thought. 23rd of August. I'm starting to think I imagined the whole thing. Maybe I did. Gabriel keeps asking me how I'm doing, if I'm okay. I can tell he's worried, despite me insisting I'm fine. My acting doesn't seem to be convincing him anymore. I need to try harder. I pretended to be focused on work all day, whereas in fact, work couldn't be further from my mind. I've lost my connection with it, any impetus to finish the paintings. As I write this, I can't honestly say I think I'll paint again. Not until all this is behind me anyway. I've been making excuses about why I don't want to go out, but Gabriel told me tonight I had no choice. Max has asked us out to dinner. I can't think of anything worse than seeing Max. I pleaded with Gabriel to cancel, saying I needed to work, but he told me it would do me good to go. He insisted I could tell he meant it, so I had no choice. I gave in and said yes. I have been worrying all day about tonight, because as soon as my mind started turning on it, everything seemed to fall into place. Everything made sense. I don't know why I didn't think of it before. It's so obvious. I understand now. The man who's watching, it isn't Jean Felix. Jean Felix isn't dark or devious enough to do this kind of thing. Who else would want to torment me, scare me, punish me? Max. Of course it's Max. It has to be Max. He's trying to drive me crazy. I'm dreading it, but I must work up the courage somehow. I'm going to do it tonight. I'm going to confront him. August 25th. I just heard something. A noise outside. I checked the window and I saw someone moving in the shadows. It's the man. He's outside. I phoned Gabriel, but he didn't pick up. Should I call the police? I don't know what to do. My hand is shaking so much I can barely... I can't hear him downstairs. He's trying the windows and the doors. He's trying to get in. I need to get out of here. I need to escape. Oh my God, I can't hear him. He's inside. He's inside the house. I am going to stop right here because I don't want to spoil the book for you in case you want to read it, which I highly recommend if you like crime fiction. Anyway, hope this helps drift you off, and I'll see you soon.